Hey everybody, it's Friday afternoon, just got home from work and a pretty good work week, ready for the weekend. Coming out to the shed today. My schedule when it comes to this place is, of course, you already know that most of my time is spent in putting up bales of hay and baling and cutting and this and that type of stuff. My cutting wood season pretty much starts when the Super Bowl's done. Now I cut periodically throughout the year when I need to, but usually from February after the Super Bowl till it starts getting warmer, I'll start cutting wood. I don't burn a lot of wood. I do have a fireplace. One of my small goals is to put in a wood burning stove. I've been here 20 years and I haven't had one. It would be nice to have one. I think we could pretty much heat our house with one for the most part. So anyway, I'm just kind of getting stuff together. I'm not cutting wood today, but I'm just kind of laying stuff out. I want to make sure I've got everything in order here. Chainsaw I have is, of course, is a stihl 390. And this is a brute of a saw. It's a heavy saw, it's a big saw, but it's a runner. It'll cut, and I use chisel chain. If you don't use chisel chain, if you're not familiar with chisel chain, it is a real aggressive chain. And a chisel chain, let's see. Got one down here in my box. Whoa. Well, that's not real good for the saw. Let's stick it somewhere where it's a little safer. How about that? We'll stick her over there. Thank goodness. Well, she didn't fall too bad, I don't think. It's taken worse falls. So a chisel chain, let's see if I can show you on this chain outside here. A chisel chain has a very sharp edge. If you can see that, or notice how it's a 90-degree angle. And that's a chisel chain, and it puts out, when you cut with a chisel chain, you know you cut with a chisel chain, it puts out chunks of wood. Now, I'm going to show you, see if I got a regular chain in here. Most of my chains are chisel chains, so I don't really use a ton of the other chain. In fact, I may not have any of them anymore. Anyway, a regular chain has kind of a it kind of has a curve to it. In other words, instead of a sharp angle like that, it'll have kind of a edge like that. If I get a pencil and pen here, let me see. So, when I do, let's see my drawing skills. Thank goodness I went to kindergarten. So a chisel chain is basically like this. And a regular chain is basically like that. This is a chisel, and this is a regular. And I use regular chains for quite a long time, and discovered the chisel chain when I went in to get some chain one time. One of the sales gurus said, "Do you what kind of chain do you use?" And I said, "Well, I use a regular chain, I guess." He goes, "Well, it depends." He says, "If you cut a lot of wood," he says, "maybe you ought to go to a chisel chain." So I went to a chisel chain. I run two chains, one of them as a spare just in case something were to happen, and I basically run this one, and as you can see, this one has been ran pretty good according to the length of the teeth. You look at that one compared to my new chain, pretty good difference in the tooth size. So actually, I used to change out my chains all the time, and I was at a hardware store one time, and a guy came up to me and he says, "Hey, what can I help you with?" "Oh, I'm just looking around, need to buy a new chain. We're in my." He's like, "Well, how do you sharpen your chains?" I said, "Well, I got one of these cheap sharpeners at Harbor Freight that I use," and so he hooked me up with one of these. If you're not familiar with these, this is actually made by Preferred. If I can get that on there. Hang on here. But Stihl makes one too. And actually, I think Preferred makes it for Stihl, if I'm not mistaken. But since I've started sharpening with these, and I've had these for at least 3 or 4 or 5 years now, I don't even change my chain. When I'm out cutting, you can tell, you guys that cut, if you don't, you can tell when they get dull. Instead of chunking out pieces, it starts to make sawdust. So you just stop, put this on the ground, and start sharpening your chain, and within minutes, you've got almost, I would like to say it's as sharp as when you first get the new chain, since I've gone to using these, and it lasts as long. So I think they're a great sharpener. I use them. I have 2 of them. I have one for my pole saw, and I have one for the big chainsaw here, and that's all I have. That little chainsaw that I've showed you before, it takes a real small file, so I haven't got one of those yet. And I've just been doing it by hand, but I haven't been using it a lot lately either. I hope to use it since when we go down to cut wood. So I also use one of these. This is made by Husqvarna. I forget what these things are called. I have to look it up online, but oil goes in one end, gasoline goes in the other end. Absolutely love this thing. You always have your oil and your gas together. Doesn't tip, and it doesn't, when you tip over, it doesn't come out. So that's my kit right there, boys and girls. Fuel, oil, chainsaw, sharpeners, and of course the carry kit. So right now, basically I just kind of come out to see if I could even get this thing started. See if it would start for me. So we'll find out. It has fuel and water, it has oil and gas in it, because I have had this out to trim some stuff recently. Looks like I need to tighten my chain a little bit. There we go. I think she's gonna run. If you're not familiar with chainsaw, you tighten the chain by, you loosen these bolts. This looks like it's got some crap in there. I need to clean it out. And there's a little bolt in here on the side, right in there. And you turn that, tighten it. And I try to I do it tight enough to where the bottom of the tooth doesn't come out of the bar. Now here's the crucial part, if you ever known about this. When you tighten, put the bar down into something, not concrete to mess up your, push down on and pull up on the back so it puts pressure up, and then you can tighten these tight. And the reason that does that is because when you're sawing, your downward, you always have downward pressure. So you want to tighten it as if you were cutting. It's already tight, so I'm just tweaking it. So that'll be a nice start for cutting wood. I've got a couple big trees down in the woods, and I've got a couple of some trimming up and stuff that I want to do in one of those trees in the waterway, and I have a couple branches that fell down in the north tree line, so we'll take care of all of those here possibly Sunday. But anyway, I just wanted you to see what I do or what I have. And 390 is a big saw. It's a heavy saw, as I said, and it takes it. You'll know you cut wood if you use a 390. My dad recently got, I think it was a 260 Ranger or a 280 Ranger. I don't remember. It's a newer model. He really likes it. I like it. It's a smaller chainsaw. You can almost use one hand, but I don't advise that, of course. But anyway, so there's the tools of the trade. If you like these videos, please give me a thumbs up. Always welcome to comment. Please subscribe, and please share with your friends, your enemies, your mailman, your postman, your paperman. Tally ho. See ya. Bye.